Welcome the timeless forgotten mystery. Is Benjamin Netanyahu the last Prime Minister of Israel? Will there be no one after him? Has he been chosen to hand over the command of Israel and the people of the Jews into the hands of the Dajjal? Is the arrival of Dajjal near? To understand this entire story, we need to look carefully at the dramatic changes that have taken place in global geopolitics over the past 24 hours. US President Donald J. Trump makes a highly dangerous and alarming tweet, openly warning Hamas to prepare for a peace pact. He declares that if Hamas does not surrender by Sunday evening at 6 p.m., all hell like no one has ever seen before will break out against Hamas. Understanding the gravity of the threat, Hamas agrees to a partial acceptance, willing to release hostages on the condition that Israel ensures the bombing of Gaza stops immediately. Within the same 24 hours, we see Trump once again addressing the world with what he calls a victory speech, declaring that peace is now on the way, while also warning Israel to stop its bombing immediately if peace is to be maintained. But this sudden shift raises deep questions. Why such rapid changes in such a short time? Why is Israel in such a hurry? Why is this peace arrangement being crafted as a win-win for Israel? And why does the entire world seem ready to agree, while Muslim countries appear hesitant and reluctant? Could it really be that Netanyahu is the last Prime Minister of Israel? Will he hand over control to the awaited Dajjal? Has Dajjal already appeared? What is this story really about? Let's try to understand. After the announcement of the Gaza Peace Pact and the arrest of humanitarian workers in the global flotilla, Hamas expresses serious reservations. Hamas states clearly that it will not hand over authority to any external board or to Tony Blair's supervision. It wants to return power to the Palestinian people, to the Palestinian Authority itself. Power back to its people, as they say. On the other side, the Muslim countries are watching this closely and calculating the consequences carefully. They know that if Muslim or Arab nations are forced to send their troops into the region, the entire Muslim world will have to bear the heavy price of such an act. Some Muslim leaders even fear that deploying troops at this point could spark a third world war. This could also fast-track the Abraham Accords, forcing every nation to sign and accept them. In fact, Trump's tweet included the word signed, implying that many Muslim countries have already signed secretly, putting nations like Pakistan in an extremely difficult position. They are now unsure whether they have been trapped into this situation or have willingly walked into it. If it's the former, domestic opposition in Pakistan and other Muslim countries will rise sharply. But if it's the latter, if they knowingly allowed this, then international pressure will make it impossible to resist. The most important thing to understand here is that a true and lasting peace agreement is always one in which both parties are willing to make small sacrifices, a genuine win-win situation. But this particular deal seems far from that. This is not a win-win, it's a lose-win scenario, where every demand of a fake state has been accepted. The conditions are clear. Muslim countries must send their armies and rebuild Gaza with their own money. Hamas must be dismantled and demilitarized. Hostages must be released immediately. UN peacekeepers will not be deployed. US backing will remain exclusively for Israel. And finally, the Abraham Accords will be accelerated rapidly. But one question stands above all. If the US president used such harsh language and issued such dangerous threats, it means Israel is in an unusual hurry. But why? Why is the entire world being pushed urgently toward this so-called peace pact? To understand Netanyahu's haste, you need to understand the man himself. Netanyahu is deeply influenced by Israel's top rabbi, considered by Jews as the equivalent of a pope, Rabbi Menahem Mendel Schneerson. Netanyahu has even mentioned his meetings with this rabbi in the United Nations General Assembly. In one of those old clips, Netanyahu recalls how the rabbi told him, "You will be serving in a house of many lies." The rabbi, revered among the Jewish community, was known for his teachings that urged the people to bring forth their Messiah as soon as possible. In another video, the rabbi can be seen openly saying that we must hasten the coming of our Messiah. There are also recordings showing this rabbi giving instructions to powerful figures across the world, including billionaires and global bankers like Bill Gates and others, directing them to act quickly for this divine mission. But the most shocking footage shows the rabbi scolding none other than Benjamin Netanyahu himself, telling him that it was his duty to speed up the process, that because of his delay, the Messiah cannot arrive yet. He warns him that the faster he completes his mission, the sooner their Messiah will appear. Several months ago, I shared in one of my earlier videos that within the Jewish community, multiple sects exist, and one particular sect from Jordan believes they are living in the 5th millennium. According to their belief, before the Jewish year 5787 ends, they must complete all their divine missions to ensure the coming of their Messiah. When this is converted to the modern calendar, it corresponds to October 1st, 2027. That means within the next 2 years, they are striving to accomplish all their goals to prepare for their Messiah's arrival. The rabbi's ideology is centered around 3 main objectives. First, to establish Greater Israel. Second, to rebuild the Third Temple of Jerusalem. And third, to accelerate the arrival of their Messiah. According to his own words, Benjamin Netanyahu would be Israel's last prime minister, after whom the command would pass into the hands of their Messiah. When you analyze all these connections, you begin to realize that perhaps Netanyahu truly is Israel's final prime minister, and that the one they await, the Dajjal, who may already be present in this world, could soon take control and reveal himself. In simple terms, this could be the beginning of the end times. Naturally, many questions arise in your mind. Who is the Dajjal? Where did he come from? What does he truly want? And how can humanity protect itself from his deception?